play is so important because if you're serious about something, you're only going to see it in the ways you've been taught and the way you've been taught to behave, what's polite behavior in society. Children don't know anything about that. They'll say the most impolite things. They'll say the craziest, wackiest things, and they'll see things that aren't there in the adult's reality. But in the child's reality, it's completely reasonable. You talk to imaginary friends that you're able to become, the size of an atom, or you're able to, become huge, because your imagination isn't just imagination at that point. It's eye magic in action.
Right.
You actually, what you look at, you live into.
Right.
And you learn to do that with feeling, with fun, with play, and you give up the rule set that things have to be a certain way. I can tell you a funny story like what you're talking about. One of our students who took the seminar, she went back to the carport where her car's parked, and she blinks and her car's not in the stall. And she thinks, oh my God, it's been stolen, it's not there. She blinks again, and there it is again. I mean,
what's real?
And we had an accountant that went back to her place of business, and she just wasn't accountable to that reality anymore. She said she had to write on our message board, which, go look at the message board, it's hilarious, but she said, I had to share this with you guys. I knew you would understand. She says, I'm looking at the numbers on these spreadsheets, and they keep changing depending upon what I'm thinking about.
And I've seen things disappear and then reappear in the exact spot. I mean, and I've had people who have seen the same thing. It was a bottle cap. Well, actually a milk carton cap. And, at that time I had woken up, I got this email from someone sort of attacking my work. And the interesting thing about it, I was venting to my friend, and we were pouring cereal, and the cap was there, and then all of a sudden he's like, Jennifer, do you have the cap? And I'm like, no, it was laying right there. And we both looked in the spot, the cap was not there. And then miraculously, it just reappeared in that spot after 5 minutes of looking for it. I started crying, laughing so hard, because I was like, you get it? It doesn't matter. In the bigger picture, it doesn't matter. So why am I over here fretting over what this person has to say when it doesn't matter in the bigger picture scheme of things?
Pouring the milk,
I had to
get a rapport with that universe.
Exactly.
It's amazing because I never know what's going to happen in my office, and I've set it up that way so that when I walk through the door of my office, I'm capable of being surprised.
Right.
And if we give up our surprise and our excitement, then you give up the synchronicities, and you give up the beauty in the universe, and you give up the idea that if you trust, really trust, and everything does work out. That's not to say everything's perfect, everything's happy, everything, that you don't have pains and aches in your bodies, that people don't develop cancer, that people don't die, etc. We're not talking about miracles as far as manifestation every single time. We're talking about the science of miracles, which is a quantum science of possibility. And I'm not even sure quantum physics exists. I mean, if somebody as smart as Richard Feynman, he was the guy that developed a lot of the math for virtual particles.
And he was funny. Like
he was really funny. He said at one point there were maybe 12 people and they could get together in a room in the world that could discuss relativity theory. I'm pretty safe in saying no one understands quantum physics.
Right.
So if that guy's saying that, then who cares what it really is?
Right.
The fact you can make bombs with it, or you can predict things with it, you can do cool stuff with it, is irrelevant to the idea that in the mythology of the way we make up our reality, it's only real while we're subscribing to that set of outcomes.
Right.
And you can literally step to one side into a different system of thought or awareness, and it is different as long as you're congruent with stepping into that difference, and you do it with the sensorium of your awareness, and you do it for a purpose. It's like, well, if I'm going to step over here and I'm just going to be crazy, excuse me, I don't have very much leverage to do that. But what if I'm in this reality and I'm talking to you, but it's not very useful? I can't access what I need to, say, to help you, which is a passion of mine, being a doctor. I step into this reality, all of a sudden I see you in a whole different plane of awareness, and all sorts of new things become possible because I'm seeing you and seeing me and the way we're making up our reality together in a new way. And by doing that, we literally can live into that, choose to live into that. That's what we did with our dog. That's what Mark and I did when we went down to the vets. The vet's reality, the dog was going to die. In the reality that we set up together, and we just quietly sat there, and we felt the tension in the reality. And then we let go of that. Mark, in fact, told me, let go of that. We let go of that reality. And then we just moved until we found something that felt congruent with the outcome that we desired for the dog. And we were not trying to make the dog live. Understand, we're not trying to make something happen. If you try and make something happen, you're butting heads to head with a reality. That isn't going to work.
But it was possible.
It was possible, and you trust in a higher power, great goodness, that possibility, if it's the best outcome for the situation that serves the purpose of all involved, then can be made into an actual viewable, discernible, livable reality.
In the hologram. Because like Carl Peabram says, no matter what we think we are, in the hologram, in the greater scheme of things, we are always so much more than that. And if we can trust and believe in that.
And it's interesting because Carl, I know Carl. I would call him a friend, although I only met him one time, but we bonded.
Kindred spirits, I'm sure.
Kindred spirits, yes. Carl doesn't necessarily believe what he says. He believes it's much more complex than that, and yet the simplicity and beauty of what he has to say about it, what are you going to say? He said, I might as well say that. He tells a story about how he's on a mountaintop. He's done his mountain climbing with this other scientist. He says, so what are you going to say tomorrow? I'm going to say that reality is a hologram. Do you believe that? He says, I don't know, but that's what I'm going to say tomorrow, because that at least is something that people can grasp for and try and understand.
In quantum physics, I think it helps us to understand that we are a part of something greater than ourselves.
Absolutely.
So it's like we can be so minuscule, but yet be so big. It's the
well, it's like the Harry Potter thing. The way they've opened up the Harry Potter thing for children, and now the big children are going to the theaters, right? And they're reading the books. That opens up the possibility of magic that we all sense as a myth or as an archetype, an unconscious archetype, that we can access that 11 billion bits of information that allows for the outcome and transformation of someone's life instantaneously, right? It's a great metaphor for possibility, and if you merge that magic with that science, with that technology, you get something that, like Arthur C. Clarke said, you cannot tell the difference between magic and very advanced technology. They look the same, to a civilization that hasn't been exposed to that level of awareness. So matrix energetics, I see it as a technology of consciousness that is the advancing wavefront of an awareness that's sweeping all of us into a new state of a higher, we could call it a higher desire and also a higher disorder, because the order that we've established around us, the old ways, are somewhat crumbling in the face of a new reality that's dawning. And some of us feel an earthquake in our inner being saying, it's time to change. Now is the time. There is no more time.
And let go.
And let go.
And
trust.
And trust. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm enjoying myself again, and hope to see you very soon.
I'm enjoying yourself again as well.
Namaste.
Thank you.